Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Good News Collective. To kick off our devotional today, okay. To kick off our devotional today, I do have another question for you. Man, I always seem to ask a lot of questions, don't I? The question is though, have you ever broken something before? Something maybe expensive, something you definitely shouldn't have broken. Because I definitely have. When I was a kid, actually, I was what those in the business kind of like to call accident prone. So a lot of times, without even meaning to, I'd break stuff. There was actually one time as a kid, I was playing a game of tag in the house. And I was running around from the person who was chasing me, and I thought I saw that the door to our backyard was wide open. So in a last-ditch effort to get away from this person, I tried to run to the backyard. But what I didn't see is that we actually had a screen door separating the inside of the house from the outside of the house. And in my attempts to run away from this person, I actually ran straight through the screen door into the backyard. And it was at that moment my parents said, "Man, we really got to get this kid some glasses." Now, I'm sure most of you guys can guess what happened next. My dad kind of had to act as a repairman. Or more accurately, he had to replace the entire screen since there was a Paul-sized hole in the other one. So I'm curious then, is it just me? Am I the only one who's ever broken something before? Or do you guys have stories like that too? Now the reason I ask this question is because these concepts of breaking things and repairing things and restoration, that stuff echoes throughout the pages of Scripture. Arguably, you could say the act of restoring and repairing things is actually one of God's specialties. You can almost think of him throughout Scripture as a repairman of sorts, or a mechanic. But if we're going to go down this little bit of a rabbit hole, then the first thing we need to do is talk about that word I said earlier, restoration. What exactly does it mean? A lot of times we might hear it in maybe a church context, but outside of that, we don't really use it a ton, do we? The term restoration means to return something to its original condition. So a lot of times, maybe we talk about restoration when we're talking about fixing up a house or a painting. So for example, if we're talking about a painting, a lot of times paintings that are years and years and years old, the color starts fading, the paint starts fading.
Rude. Doesn't even look that bad.
So they get these professional artists to kind of touch up the colors, touch up the painting, make it look like how it originally was. They're restoring the painting. So, like I said earlier, this concept of restoration and repair is echoed throughout Scripture. And, like we said, the act of restoration means returning something to its original condition, how it originally was. So if we're thinking about that in the terms of Scripture, what's that original condition, right? How were things originally? Our answer can be found in the very first chapters of the book of Genesis. They describe the world how God originally made it. And there's three main words that they keep using over and over and over again to describe this original condition. It was good. Multiple times in those first few chapters, God describes his creation as good. We see the sun and the stars. The Garden of Eden, it's lush, it's abundant. There's all different kinds of plants and animals. But that's not the only thing that's good. In this original condition, humanity itself is good. Humans are living in harmony with all the animals in the garden. They're living in harmony with each other, Adam and Eve, and most importantly, they're living in harmony with God. These first few chapters of Genesis actually describes humans having a very close relationship with God. In Genesis chapter 3, it even says that God used to walk in the Garden of Eden in the cool of the day. All this to say, in the original condition of the world, it was good. Mankind and God had a whole, perfect, good relationship. But I think for most of us watching right now, we know that the world's not how it originally was. It doesn't have that original condition. To put it bluntly, the world's not good. Not anymore. Our world is changed. It's broken. We broke it. And this isn't some hidden concept. Each and every one of us has seen this. We felt it. Our relationships break, whether that's between friends, whether that's between spouses, whether that's between family, where there was once love and peace and this care for each other. Now there's cheating, there's scandals, there's betrayal, there's falling out between friends. Our bodies break. We lose loved ones to cancer or Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. Despite what everyone in our society tries to do, tries to stay as young as possible for as long as possible, time waits for no man. We all slow down. We get bags under our eyes. We can't see as well. We can't move as fast. And try as we might, in the end, there's nothing we can do to stop it. And perhaps what's most felt in this world is that our hearts still break. We suffer from loneliness, anxiety, guilt, stress, loss, grief, even betrayal. And this brokenness has spread everywhere. Our political systems, our ethics, our morals, all of it's broken. So when we let all this brokenness kind of sink in, it can be hard to find hope. You might even be wondering, do I even have any good news to tell you today? And I do. Our God specializes in restoration. He's a mechanic. He's a repairman. He fixes things. Throughout the pages of Scripture, he is constantly fixing our broken world. Psalm 113 says, "Who is like the Lord our God? Who is seated on high? Who looks far down on the heavens and the earth? He raises the poor from the dust and the needy from the ash heap to make them sit with princes, with the princes of his people. He gives the barren woman a home, making her the joyous mother of children." That's our good news today. Our God sees our broken world, our broken hearts. He sees our pains and our hurts, even the pains and hurts of people who feel overlooked, unseen, and he fixes it. The very climax of Scripture details God's greatest act of restoration. Through Jesus' death and resurrection, he restores the relationship between God and mankind. The relationship that was broken from the very first chapters of Genesis. Now, some of us might be angry at God or confused. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, why is God fixing everybody else's problems, everybody else's brokenness, but not mine? I've been praying, I've been asking, and my problems are still hurting. I can still feel that brokenness. Why hasn't he fixed it? The good news is restoration is coming. The book of Revelation, the last book in all Scripture, gives us a glimpse into that future restoration. In chapter 21, the writer, John, says, "And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, 'Look, God's dwelling is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain. For the old order of things has passed away.' He who is seated on the throne said, 'I am making everything new.'" Right now, you and I both know that our world is still broken. Relationships still break. Our bodies still break. Our hearts still break. But our God is a mechanic. He fixes it. And that's pretty good news.